The gift. Captain Alexandra Alex Reeves straightened her uniform collar for the 5th time as she waited with her crew in Orbital Station Epsilon's cavernous docking bay. After 3 years of humanity's integration into the Galactic Concordat, today marked a historic milestone. Earth would receive its first official interstellar vessel. Think they'll give us something with quantum drives. Lieutenant Maya Chen, weapons specialist, practically bounced on her toes beside Alex. The Araxian cruisers can bend space-time like it's nothing. I heard it might be a Valerian scout class, added Commander Eli Jackson, Alex's second-in-command. Small but versatile. Alex smiled at her crew's enthusiasm. They'd been handpicked, the best Earth had to offer, after years of serving as observers and junior officers aboard alien vessels. This would be humanity's chance to prove they belonged among the stars. Whatever it is, Alex said, her voice steady and confident, we'll make Earth proud. The massive hangar doors parted with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a delegation of aliens led by High Ambassador Zorn of the Felician Dominion. The tall, slender alien's iridescent scales shimmered under the harsh lights, and his 4 eyes blinked in unsynchronized patterns, a sign of amusement among his kind. Captain Reeves, Zorn's translator, converted his whistling speech to flat, emotionless English. The Concordat welcomes you. We are pleased to present Earth with its first official vessel. Behind the delegation stood something large covered by a metallic sheet. Alex noticed the odd, asymmetrical shape beneath, not the sleek, purposeful lines she'd expected from a modern vessel. On behalf of humanity, we are honored to accept, Alex replied formally. Zorn made a flourishing gesture, and 2 junior delegates pulled away the covering. The excited murmurs from Alex's crew died instantly. Before them sat what could only be described as junk. The vessel was an ancient transport ship, its hull patched in dozens of places with mismatched metals. One of its 3 drive nacelles was visibly cracked, the name painted on its side. Discarded remnant was peeling away. This, Alex began, then caught herself. This is our ship. Indeed, Zorn replied, all 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The discarded remnant has served the Concordat for nearly 80 years. Rather than recycle it, we thought it would make an excellent learning opportunity for your species. Maya's hand instinctively moved toward her sidearm. Jackson's face had hardened into a mask of diplomatic neutrality that couldn't quite hide his anger. Chief Engineer Raj Patel spoke what everyone was thinking. It's barely spaceworthy. The life support systems look ancient. They are functional, Zorn replied. Mostly. Another delegate, a squat, amphibious being named Kilks, gurgled what translated as, perhaps humans aren't ready for true interstellar travel if this simple vessel is too challenging. Alex felt the insult like a physical blow. This wasn't a gift, it was a message. The Concordat didn't believe humans belonged among them. We accept with gratitude, Alex interrupted firmly. Her crew looked at her with surprise, but she gave them a subtle hand signal they'd come to recognize. Trust me. Zorn seemed disappointed by the lack of protest. Very well. The vessel is yours. The Concordat has provided basic supplies and manuals for the more unusual systems. You have 1 standard month to make it operational and begin your assigned patrol duties. 1 month, Patel whispered. We'd need 2 just tow. 1 month will be perfect, Alex said smoothly. We look forward to showing what humans can do with this fine vessel. The delegation departed, several members failing to hide their amusement. As soon as the doors closed, her crew erupted. Captain, this is an insult, Maya said, her voice tight with anger. They've given us garbage. We should go to Earth's ambassador, suggested Communications Officer Dr. Sophia Williams. File a formal complaint. Alex walked up to the ship and placed her hand on the cold, pitted hull. No, she said quietly. That's exactly what they expect. Sir, Jackson asked. Alex turned to face her crew. In her eyes burned a fierce determination that made even Maya step back. They think we'll complain. They think we'll beg for something better, or give up entirely. That's what they want. Proof that humans don't belong out here. She began walking around the ship, examining it more closely. Look at this hull. Ceridium alloy. Older, yes, but nearly impossible to scan through with standard sensors. And these engine mounts, she pointed to what looked like damage. They're modified helium thrusters, primitive by their standards, but incredibly reliable. Patel stepped forward, his engineer's curiosity overtaking his disappointment. The power core looks intact. Old design, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a Marathon Mk3. Not fast to charge, but nearly unlimited endurance. Alex smiled. Exactly. They didn't give us a fancy ship. They gave us a foundation. But Captain, Maya protested, even if we get it running, we'll be laughed at everywhere we go. Good, Alex replied. Let them laugh. Let them underestimate us. Throughout human history, our greatest achievements have come when others thought we would fail. She gathered her crew in a circle, their faces still showing doubt, but now mixed with curiosity. They gave us scrap because they don't respect us, but they've forgotten something important about humans. We've always been at our best when working with scrap. We built our first planes from bicycle parts, our first satellites from leftover war technology. Alex's voice grew stronger, and one by one, her crew stood straighter. We won't just make this ship functional. We'll make it ours. We'll make it human. And one day, the Galactic Concordat will look at what we've done with their cast-offs and wonder what they've unleashed. Jackson was the first to grin. Where do we start, Captain? Alex turned to the ship, her eyes gleaming with purpose. Raj, get a team and start assessing that power core. Maya, I want you to think about defensive options, creative ones. Sophia, download everything you can about this model, official and unofficial. Eli, help me plot out the internal spaces. I want to see what we're working with. As the crew dispersed to their tasks, Alex stood a moment longer, looking at the battered vessel. The name Discarded Remnant seemed to mock them. We should rename her, she murmured to herself. Something fitting. She thought of old naval traditions from Earth's history, of ships beating the odds, of underdogs rising to greatness. Phoenix, she decided, from Earth mythology, the bird that rises from ashes. She placed her hand again on the hull, feeling the cold metal, imagining what it could become. They gave us scrap, she whispered. We'll show them what humans can build from ashes. Behind her, her crew was already at work, the sound of tools and voices filling the hangar with purpose. The first step of their journey had begun. Despite everything, Alex felt a surge of excitement. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. 5 days after receiving the Discarded Remnant, the hangar bay looked like a war zone. Ship parts were scattered everywhere, panels removed from walls, and the constant sound of welding and hammering filled the air. In the middle of it all stood Raj, covered in grease up to his elbows, staring at the ship's power core with a mixture of frustration and amazement. Captain, you need to see this, he called out as Alex walked by with a tablet full of reports. Alex ducked under a hanging cable and joined her chief engineer. What am I looking at, Raj? Raj pointed to the cylindrical power core that took up a large part of the engine room. This isn't junk. This is a Helion 5 core. They stopped making these 30 years ago. Because they were bad. Because they were too good. Raj wiped his hands on a rag. These cores are nearly indestructible. They can run for decades without maintenance, but they have one problem. They're inefficient by modern standards. Alex raised an eyebrow. How inefficient? They use about 40% more fuel than newer models. So the big companies stopped making them to sell their fancy new cores that need replacing every 5 years. Raj grinned. But if someone were to fix the efficiency problem, could you do it? Alex asked. Raj tapped the core with his knuckle. Already started. I'm reconfiguring the power distribution system. With some human ingenuity, I think we can make this old core run better than anything in the Concordat's fleet. On the other side of the ship, Maya had turned the cargo bay into a makeshift workshop. She was examining what looked like large cargo doors. "What's all this?" Alex asked, stepping around various tools and parts. Maya looked up from her work. "Their idea of a shield generator was pathetic, so I'm making a new one out of cargo doors. These aren't ordinary doors, Captain. They're made of tri-steel with a reflective coating. The aliens used them for radiation protection during long hauls, but with some modifications." She flipped a switch, and the door panel began to hum with energy. "They can deflect energy weapons too." Alex watched as Maya fired a small test laser at the panel. The beam bounced off harmlessly. "It won't stop a direct hit from a military vessel," Maya admitted, "but it'll give us some protection. And the best part, our shield signature will read as cargo bay doors on most scans." Alex smiled. "Hiding in plain sight. I like it." In what would become the bridge, Jackson and Sophia were installing old-style manual control systems alongside the ship's original computer interfaces. "Why are you adding physical controls?" Alex asked. "Aren't neural interfaces faster?" Jackson looked up from under the console. "Faster, yes, but also easier to hack or disrupt. These physical controls are from Earth's old space program. Simple, reliable, and completely unfamiliar to most alien tech experts. We're also installing a backup navigation system based on star tracking, like ancient sailors used," Sophia added. "If all our fancy tech fails, we can still find our way home." Day by day, the ship transformed. What had started as an insult was becoming something unique. Neither human nor alien, but a hybrid that combined the best of both worlds. On the 15th day, High Ambassador Zorn returned with several Concordat observers. They walked through the ship with poorly concealed disdain. "You've made changes," Zorn noted, watching a crew member install what looked like an Earth kitchen appliance into a control panel. "Improvements," Alex corrected. "We're adapting the ship to our needs." One of the observers, a tall insectoid being, chittered something that the translator rendered as, "Are those physical buttons? How primitive." Raj, who was passing by with a toolbox, smiled politely. "Sometimes primitive is reliable, and reliability matters when you're floating in space." Zorn stopped at what had once been a storage closet. Now it contained plants. Actual Earth plants, growing in containers. "What is this?" he asked, all four eyes blinking rapidly. "Supplemental life support," answered Dr. Amit Sharma, the ship's medical officer. "These plants clean our air and provide fresh food. They also help with crew morale." "Plants on a starship?" Another observer laughed. "Inefficient and unnecessary." Dr. Sharma just smiled. "We find them quite necessary." As the tour continued, Zorn became increasingly agitated. "Captain Reeves, these modifications may violate Concordat regulations. That power core configuration has not been approved. Those shield emplacements are not standard. This, whatever this is," he pointed to a device cobbled together from spare parts. "Water recycler," Alex explained. 98% efficiency. "The point is," Zorn continued, "the Concordat expected you to learn how to operate a standard vessel, not rebuild it according to human whims." Alex stopped walking and faced the ambassador directly. "With all respect, Ambassador, you gave us a decommissioned vessel that barely functioned. We're making it work. Isn't that the point?" "The point was to see if humans could adapt to galactic standards," Zorn replied coldly. "And we are adapting them to work better." Alex gestured around. "Everything we've done improves this ship's functionality while maintaining compatibility with Concordat systems." The delegation left shortly after, clearly unhappy with what they'd seen. As the hangar doors closed behind them, the crew gathered around Alex. "They're going to try to stop us, aren't they?" Maya asked. Alex nodded. "They'll probably add more inspections and requirements. But we've only got 15 more days until our deadline." Raj reminded her. Then we work faster, Alex replied. Double shifts. I want this ship ready to fly in 10 days, not 15. As the crew dispersed to their tasks with renewed purpose, Alex walked to the front of the ship. The old name had been removed, and a crew member was carefully painting the new one. Phoenix. They think we're just making a mess, Alex said to no one in particular. They don't understand that this is what humans do best. We take pieces that don't fit together and make something new. She touched the freshly painted name, careful not to smudge it. We're not just rebuilding a ship, she whispered. We're making history. Behind her, the sounds of construction continued late into the night. The Phoenix was taking shape, piece by mismatched piece, becoming something the Galactic Concordat never intended, a ship with a human heart. Rising from the ashes, the Phoenix cut through space on its first official patrol, 3 days ahead of the Concordat's deadline. From the outside, it still looked like a patched-together transport vessel, its hull a mismatched collection of metals and components. But inside, it hummed with efficiency and purpose. Captain Alex Reeves sat in the command chair on the bridge, watching her crew work with pride. They had done the impossible. Turned scrap into a functioning starship with capabilities no one would suspect. Status report, she called out. All systems running smoothly, Captain, reported Raj from the engineering station. Power core operating at 118% of standard capacity. Shield doors ready on standby. Maya added from tactical. Weapon systems. Well, what we're calling weapon systems are online. Alex smiled at that. They had no official weapons. The Concordat hadn't authorized any, but Maya had repurposed mining equipment, waste disposal units, and even the ship's old cargo magnetizers into something that could, in a pinch, serve as defense. We're approaching Sector 7A, Jackson announced from navigation. Standard patrol route as assigned. Sector 7A was quiet space, a trading route far from any important Concordat worlds. It was busy enough with merchant traffic, but considered safe and routine. Perfect for a test run of humanity's first official ship. Captain, Sophia called from communications. I'm picking up encrypted Concordat transmissions. There's unusual activity in this sector. Alex straightened in her chair. Details. Can't break the encryption fully, but I'm detecting stress patterns in the carrier wave. Whatever it is, it's urgent. Standard protocol dictated they should report the anomaly and continue their assigned patrol. But Alex had never been one to follow protocol blindly. Keep monitoring, she ordered. Eli, take us closer to the transmission source. The Phoenix adjusted course, its engines pushing harder than any standard Concordat vessel of its class should be able to. Raj had worked wonders with the old power core, channeling its energy through human-designed systems that squeezed every drop of power from it. Transmission source is approximately 20 minutes ahead at current speed, Sophia reported. Wait, I'm getting something else. Emergency beacon. Concordat diplomatic frequency. That changed everything. Diplomatic beacons were never used lightly. All stations, alert status, Alex ordered. Maya, prepare your non-weapons. Raj, I want full power to engines and shields. Let's see what's happening. 17 minutes later, Jackson announced, dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1. The view screen showed chaos. A sleek diplomatic vessel, bearing the distinctive markings of the Concordat High Council, was listing badly, its engines dark. Circling it were 5 predatory ships with no identifying markers. Pirates, or worse. They've disabled the diplomatic vessel's engines, Maya reported. Life support still functioning, but they're cutting into the hull. Scan for other Concordat ships, Alex ordered. Nothing in range, Jackson replied. Nearest patrol is 3 hours away at maximum speed. And how long would it take us? We're already here, Captain. Alex nodded, her decision made. Open a channel, Sophia. When Sophia nodded, Alex spoke clearly. Attention unidentified vessels. This is Captain Alexander Reeves of the Earth ship Phoenix, operating under Concordat authority. Cease your attack and withdraw immediately. A harsh laugh was the only response before the channel cut off. Moments later, two of the attacking ships broke off and turned toward the Phoenix. They're targeting us, Maya reported. Energy weapons charging. Evasive maneuvers, Alex ordered. Raise shields. The tri-steel cargo doors that Maya had converted into shield emitters hummed to life, creating an irregular energy field around the ship. The first attacker fired, a bright beam of energy lancing toward the Phoenix. When it hit the shields, something unexpected happened. The energy didn't dissipate. Instead, it refracted, splitting into dozens of smaller beams that scattered in all directions. One of those beams struck the second attacking ship, causing a small explosion on its hull. What was that? Alex demanded. Maya looked up from her console, eyes wide with surprise and delight. The reflective coating on the shield doors. It's not just deflecting energy, it's redirecting it. I didn't expect that level of efficiency. Can you control where it redirects? With some adjustments, maybe. Maya's fingers flew over her controls. Give me a minute. We may not have a minute, Jackson warned as the attacking ships regrouped, clearly reconsidering their approach. Sophia, try to raise the diplomatic vessel, Alex ordered. After a moment, the view screen shifted to show the interior of the disabled ship. A wounded Thalasian diplomat, scales dull with stress, stared back at them. This is Ambassador Krell, he wheezed. Human vessel, you must retreat. These are not ordinary pirates. They are Drakari separatists. Their ships are military grade. We're not leaving you, Ambassador. Alex replied firmly. How many aboard your vessel? 12 diplomats plus 6 crew. But you cannot. The transmission cut as another attack rocked the diplomatic ship. All 3 remaining attackers are focusing on the diplomatic vessel, Maya reported. They're trying to breach the inner hull. If they succeed, she didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what Drakari separatists did to Concordat officials. Options? Alex asked. We could try to position ourselves between the attackers and the diplomatic vessel, Jackson suggested. Use our shields to protect them. It would expose us to concentrated fire, Maya warned. Our shields are good, but they're not designed for sustained military assault. Raj's voice came over the intercom. Captain, what if we don't just shield them? What if we give them power? Explain. Their engines are disabled, but their systems are intact. If we could transfer power from our core to theirs, they might be able to raise their own defensive systems. Alex considered this. Can we do that without docking? They're still under attack. I've been working on a directed energy transfer system, Raj replied. It's experimental, but it's better than watching them die. Alex finished his thought. Do it. While Raj prepared his experimental system, Alex ordered Jackson to maneuver the Phoenix into position, using the jury-rigged shields to provide what protection they could to the diplomatic vessel. The attackers have noticed us, Maya reported. All 5 are repositioning. I think they've decided we're the more immediate threat. Good, Alex said grimly. Let them focus on us. The first volley from the attacking ships struck the Phoenix's shields with tremendous force. The ship shuddered, but held. Shield efficiency at 82%, Maya called out. Another hit like that. Raj, status on the power transfer. Ready, Captain, but we'll have to lower our shields for approximately 7 seconds to establish the connection. 7 seconds under concentrated fire from 5 military-grade vessels. The odds were not in their favor. Maya, can those cargo doors you installed in the lower hull be used as shields? Maya blinked, then her eyes widened in understanding. Yes, but they'd only cover about 30% of our ventral surface. That's where we'll establish the connection, Alex decided. Reposition those doors to concentrate shield power there. Eli, when I give the word, roll the ship to present our ventral side to the diplomatic vessel, keeping our strongest shields facing the attackers. The bridge crew worked frantically to implement her plan. When all was ready, Alex took a deep breath. Execute. The Phoenix rolled gracefully, presenting its underside to the diplomatic vessel while maintaining its defensive posture toward the attackers. As Raj initiated the power transfer, the main shields flickered and died. For 7 eternal seconds, the Phoenix was vulnerable. The attackers, sensing weakness, concentrated their fire. The ship rocked violently as hits landed on the partially protected hull. Hull breach on Deck 3. Sophia called out. Emergency force fields holding. Transfer at 60%. 80%. Complete. Raj shouted over the alarms. Shields coming back online. The shields flickered back to life just as another volley of enemy fire approached. This time, Maya was ready. She had reconfigured the reflective properties of the shield doors, carefully calculating angles of reflection. The incoming energy beams struck the Phoenix's shields and rebounded directly at the attackers. 2 of the enemy ships took direct hits from their own weapons, their shields failing under the unexpected angle of attack. On the diplomatic vessel, systems were coming back online. Their shields raised, and weapons, far more powerful than anything the Phoenix possessed, began to target the attackers. The diplomatic vessel is hailing us, Sophia announced. Ambassador Krell appeared on screen again, his scales now flickering with renewed energy. Human vessel, your assistance is unexpected. We have regained partial control of our systems thanks to your power transfer. Our weapons are online. Then I suggest we use them, Ambassador, Alex replied. Together. What followed was a dance of cooperation unlike anything the Concordat had seen before. The Phoenix, despite its cobbled-together systems and jury-rigged weapons, moved with precision and unpredictability that confused the attackers. It used its reflective shields to redirect enemy fire, while the diplomatic vessel targeted with devastating accuracy. Within minutes, 2 of the attacking ships were disabled, 1 was destroyed, and the remaining 2 were retreating at maximum speed. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Alex ordered damage reports from all stations. Multiple hull breaches, but emergency systems are holding, Jackson reported. We've lost artificial gravity on Deck 3, and life support is at 60% efficiency in the forward sections. Casualties. Minor injuries only, Captain. Dr. Sharma is treating them now. Alex nodded, relief washing over her. They'd taken a terrible risk, but it had paid off. Captain, Sophia interrupted. We're receiving multiple hails. The diplomatic vessel, of course, but also 3 Concordat battlecruisers are approaching. And there's a priority message from High Ambassador Zorn. Of course there was. They'd violated at least a dozen protocols by engaging in combat instead of calling for help. Even saving a diplomatic vessel might not be enough to excuse their actions. Put the ambassador through, Alex said, straightening in her chair despite the exhaustion pulling at her. Zorn's face appeared on screen, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in a pattern Alex hadn't seen before. Captain Reeves, he began, his translator struggling to convey the complex tones in his voice. We have received reports of your intervention. We responded to a diplomatic distress call, Ambassador. Alex replied formally. Protocol dictated that you should have reported the situation and waited for authorized military vessels. Zorn interrupted. Instead, you engaged 5 Drakari separatist ships with a modified transport vessel that has no official weapons. Alex remained silent. There was no defense against the truth. You risked your ship and crew on an impossible mission, Zorn continued. You violated direct orders. You modified Concordat technology without approval. He paused, all 4 eyes focusing intently on Alex. And in doing so, you saved the lives of the Concordat's most senior diplomatic team, including 3 High Council members who were traveling incognito. Alex blinked in surprise. No wonder the ship had such powerful weapons despite its diplomatic markings. The High Council has reconsidered its approach to human integration into the Concordat, Zorn said carefully. Your actions, while unorthodox, demonstrate qualities we had underestimated in your species. Thank you, Ambassador, Alex replied cautiously. Do not thank me yet, Captain. Your ship, this Phoenix, requires extensive repairs. The Council has authorized those repairs to be carried out at our premier orbital shipyard. Additionally, your modifications will be officially approved and documented. Alex could barely believe what she was hearing. That's very generous, Ambassador. It is not generosity, Captain Reeves. It is recognition. Zorn's eyes blinked in sequence again. Perhaps we were hasty in our assessment of humanity's readiness for true integration into the Concordat. Your species takes unexpected approaches, but the results speak for themselves. After the communication ended, the bridge crew sat in stunned silence for a moment. Did we just get promoted from embarrassment to innovation? Maya asked finally. Alex laughed, the tension of the past hour dissolving. I think we did more than that. I think we just changed the future of human Concordat relations. Not bad for a pile of junk, Raj's voice came over the comm. Not junk, Alex corrected, looking around at her ship. Damaged, yes, but still flying. Still fighting. The Phoenix, a ship that rose from ashes to save the day. 6 months later, the Phoenix was no longer alone. 5 more decommissioned Concordat vessels had been transferred to Earth, each one assigned to a crew handpicked by Alex. The Phoenix program, they called it, turning cast-offs into something uniquely human and surprisingly effective. Across the Concordat, attitudes were slowly changing. Humans weren't seen as primitive newcomers anymore, but as valuable allies who brought fresh perspectives and unconventional solutions to old problems. As for the original Phoenix, it had been properly repaired and upgraded, though Alex had insisted on keeping many of their jury-rigged systems intact. They're part of the ship's soul, she told the Concordat engineers, who had eventually, reluctantly, agreed. Standing on the observation deck, watching her ship prepare for its next mission, Alex reflected on how far they'd come from that day in the hangar bay. They gave us scrap, she murmured, and we forged it into the most dangerous ship in the galaxy. But the true achievement wasn't the ship itself. It was what the Phoenix represented. Humanity's irrepressible spirit, their ability to adapt, to overcome, to transform limitation into opportunity. The galaxy would never underestimate them again.